Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pirate Valley. Today, we are actually down in the valley once again, building some buildings, funnily enough, beside the little river that we created in the previous episode. I do once again apologize for this episode being a day late. I sat down yesterday, I got into the office yesterday with the intent of recording the rest of this build process. By the way, some of this was live streamed, some of it wasn't. What you're currently seeing was streamed. I'll let you know when you're seeing stuff that wasn't. I sat in the office yesterday to record the commentary and the rest of this video, and the office was very noisy, so it wasn't really an option. It was quite annoying, and I was very close to complaining, basically, doing the most British thing possible and not bringing it up with the person, but going to someone in charge, i.e. someone that owns the building or works for the building, and complaining. I wound up not doing that, which I feel is somewhat more British, in a way. Thinking about complaining, but not complaining, I feel like that's a very British thing. So, basically what I'm getting at is nothing came of it, and they may be back next week, and it may be another issue, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, by this point, I'm sure you've noticed, we are going to be building a roller coaster today, which is great news. We haven't built a roller coaster in a few episodes, and this was something that people were quite keen on me doing in Twitch chat, so I decided it would be a good idea to go ahead with the roller coaster. I was thinking about it a little bit before sitting down to build all of this. I sort of had the idea of a roller coaster that would go through and sort of along the little river we have there, but I wanted it to go under the bridges. In the end, and as you will see, it doesn't do that. It ends up going over them, which is fine. It actually sort of rolls over the top of the bridges. It ends up being quite cool, actually. I do really enjoy how the roller coaster turned out. It's very simple. It's not got all that many drops. There's no loops. It sort of spins around a big rock at one point and then has the spiraling loop. But there's not really much exciting about the roller coaster in the end. It is more of a... It's kind of there just to fill in the spaces and to be something sort of interactive in this space. Because what I wanted here and what we end up doing here today is I wanted this space where you have the two pathways on either side of this gap. And down in the gap you have rocks and water and plants and all that stuff. On both sides, I wanted these nice big buildings facing it, and then in the middle, I wanted the roller coaster. And again, that's what we achieve. And I'm actually really happy with the outcome of the build, as, you know, I'm sure you will see. I also hope you agree. I do want to talk about something a little bit, though, whilst the build is going on. I have a habit of doing this anyway. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised that I'm going off on one. But, well, not going off on one, but anyway. The game has been crashing a lot lately, and I want to say that now, and I want to talk about this now because it was actually a big issue whilst constructing this. As we get further into the video, you're going to notice more cuts, you're going to notice more transitions. That's because the game was frequently crashing. And I think it's just because of the amount of props and objects I have in Pirate Valley. It doesn't do it on my Let's Play park, it doesn't do it in any other park I play. And I think it is a fairly consistent issue that people have with parks when there are a lot of objects in there. So that may become an even bigger issue down the line. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is because there may come a point when we can't continue Pirate Valley, at least until Planet Coaster has some optimization tweaks or there's a fix for the game constantly crashing. I think it is just an optimization thing. I can only assume it's an optimization thing. So I'm letting you know that now because, for one, that may result in me, before not being able to record it, not being able to stream it, because the frame rate on streams is already kind of low with Planet Coaster. It sits in like the mid-20s at the moment, and I hate to rattle on about my PC, I do it quite often, apparently, but my PC isn't the issue. Is what I'm getting to. Anyway, back to the build. Enough about my problems. I was considering putting some rocks and plants to the roof of this building, and then some cannons, to sort of make it look like it had been destroyed a little bit, and like there was smoke rising up out of it. But in the end, it didn't really look right. People didn't really like it, so I decided to sort of put the roof back on, put some of these posts in here, and make it look like the roof was just damaged with time and kind of weathered a little bit. as though parts of it had fallen away. And I think it really works, I do. Also worth mentioning is the fact that this building really is, it's only really detailed on the front. The back of it is pretty flat, same with all of the buildings that we're going to be doing here today. The reason for that being that I don't really know what's going to go behind these buildings. I don't know if it's going to be plants and landscaping, or if it's going to be more buildings or whatever. I don't have a clue what I'm going to put back there, so that's why the buildings end up being quite flat and poorly detailed on the back, just as a heads up. Anyway, we are currently working on the roller coaster. I actually take this roller coaster into a space that in the previous episode I said we wouldn't be using, which is the space behind the pirate fort. The reason for that being, I really enjoy the idea that the roller coaster would sort of come along, slip in behind the building, come out the other side. You'll see it. I mean, I'm explaining it as we're doing it, but, you know, a picture speaks 1,000 words, where therefore, you know, this video is 60 FPS, so there are 60,000 words being spoken per second. There you go. There's a fact for you. But yeah, you can see it spiraling around that rock there. It sort of comes down to the water a little bit. It's gonna go ahead and bank around to the right and then come through here. And I tried so hard to get it to go under the bridge, but it just wasn't having it. I could have raised the bridge, but I really didn't want to. I kind of like where the bridges are. I think they work fine. So I decided to go up and over and just sort of around the lake and then back to the station just there. And I really like that coaster. I do. I really enjoy how the coaster turned out in the end. Anyway, what we're doing now is actually stuff that wasn't live streamed. This is the continuation of the building there. The building that houses the roller coaster has some buildings on either side. They're all connected together in one way or other. And I decided this building would house some toilets because, of course, it is a running joke that I place way too many toilets in everything I do. Almost every building in the upper part of this park has a toilet, and I think in this particular part of Pirate Valley, I think I place 4 toilets. There's 2 in there, and there's 2 in a building we haven't built yet. But that's okay, it's fine. That's not the most I've placed in one episode, I don't think. I think I've placed a lot more than that before. So, you know, I mean, you could look at that as me slacking, but I don't think I'm slacking. I think I placed a fair number of toilets, and I think it does the job. Anyway, just putting the roof on this building here. Again, this building isn't going to be beautifully detailed from the back. We do put another building on the side. I do some details around the sides of this building as well to make it just any face of this building that you're going to be seeing from the path, I make it look as beautiful as I can. And I've just noticing me placing the seaweed there. I cannot wait until this game has more objects, more props, until it has mods, until it just has so many more things. And I keep saying this every episode, but it actually, when it came to trying to weather these buildings to make them look old, to make them look damaged and pirate-like, it made me realize even more just how much I really want more, just more things, you know? Detailing these buildings and making them look old and weathered and pirate-like was actually kind of difficult because it was just the same 3 sort of bundles of seaweed, which kind of look okay. I think they do a reasonable job of making it look old and old, I guess. Not really many other words there. Ancient isn't the right one. It's not ancient. It's just old. It's antique. There you go. There's another. That's not really a word for old. I mean, if you describe someone as old, that's like some people get a little bit arsey about that. But I feel like describing a person as old is better than describing a person as antique. Because antique feels like a very different word to me. Maybe that's just me though. Anyway, transitioning here because there was another game crash. This building isn't actually going to be one that you can go into. This is one of very few buildings in this park that has a door on the front of it rather than just an open archway, so that's interesting. And that reminds me of something I would absolutely love. Open doors. That archway there, I would love a version of that where the door is just open. or a version of that archway that doesn't have a door in it at all. That'd be kind of nice. But especially like an open version. I'm not quite sure how you would do it, considering you would have to place it on a wall and the wall would be behind it, but maybe the door model sort of like cuts its shape through the wall behind it, so it actually looks like an open door. I don't know how it would work, but I would love open doors in this. I think it'd be so cool to have. It's a detail we don't have. It's another detail that I want. I want so many things from this game. It's not good. It really isn't. I sound so needy. I really, really do. Anyway, just touching up the building a little bit there. Adding some seaweed, adding a marble frieze to the top, added a skull to the bottom, adding even more seaweed because of course. And then I decided to go ahead and start adding in the details to the backs of these buildings. And by details, I mean, I just add in some walls to close them up a little bit. I add some pillars to the sides of that building to make it look a little bit better. Apparently I'm doing the roof first, but I know there we go, adding the pillars. That's what I was talking about. See, I'm not crazy. Not completely. But yeah, just adding in as many details as I can to, again, the faces of the buildings that you will end up seeing. That said, you may end up seeing the backs of these buildings as well, because I haven't actually worked out how people are going to get down to this area of the park, because it is a long way to go. It is a pretty long journey to get down to this part of the park. So yeah, I really have no idea. I kind of did this with the lower section of the park as well. Not the lower section of the park, but the kind of docks area of the port up at the top end of the park. It was a very similar thing. The docks area was disconnected from the upper section, and then I sort of just connected it with this really placeholder path. And that kind of worked, but that's going to be something we're going to need to do eventually with this area down here to make sure that people will actually use it and walk about and all that stuff. But I do think it's also going to be a good idea to eventually go ahead and put some rides in here, as well as the coaster. The coaster's good. It's good that we have a ride down here. But there are a bunch of flat rides we still haven't placed that I would like to place. And I think I will probably put another swinging ship down here. I'll probably duplicate the whirly rig as well, just because they do sort of work really well with the theme that we've got going on. So that's a thing that will probably have to happen just for the sake of filling up some space. But there we go, adding in the 2 toilets I was telling you about, because of course we are. You always need to make sure your facilities have facilities. That is a message to live by. Make sure your facilities have facilities. Yeah, I'm just spewing knowledge today. Apparently, it's spewing knowledge. That's a phrase. Anyway, moving on from my great intellect, putting in some pillars, putting in some lights, putting some front panels in the shops, and some canopies, overhang things. What do you call them? Oh god, is it a canopy? It is kind of a canopy, isn't it? Why have I forgotten the word for those things? Or maybe I haven't. Maybe it is just, I don't know. Whatever. I'm calling it a canopy. We put those in there. We put in some skulls, put in some ship rigging, and just generally made this place look a little bit more filled out. I actually really enjoy that interior. I don't know why. Like, it's not that detailed. There's a lot of lights. There's details here and there. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that detailed. So I don't know, it's alright. It does the job. And we will hopefully see a lot of people using that building. Although I guess I kind of have my doubts. I know Planet Coaster, they're all going to use the other buildings, and this big one is going to be left completely on its own. That's generally the way things work in this game. If there's facilities closer, like if I can get my burgers and hats and all that stuff a bit closer, I will. Kind of worries me for, it makes me slightly concerned about the fort, actually, because the fort has facilities too, but it doesn't have a ride. So people aren't really going to be inclined to go to the fort, considering all of the facilities are in this building. Every shop and every toilet, like the toilets you can go to in this one building. So I may have slightly gimped my fort a little bit, which isn't good, but I guess we'll see. We will eventually see how that goes. I'm gonna have to test that once I get the path down to this section of the park going. Also, as you're about to see, there is going to be a transition in the video in another second. This is, again, just because of a crash in the game. Seriously, the last few transitions have all been crashes. It's annoying as hell. And the reason it's annoying as hell is because the game does autosave, but it's like every 10 to 15 minutes. And you can do a lot of stuff in Planet Coaster in 10 to 15 minutes. Like, I had to redo that entire roof, all of the detailing, and just everything after this crash. So that was fun, getting to redo all of that. But I did it, and then I put in some windows. The detailing looked a little bit different here and there, but I think in the end, we do make a building that looks all right. It's not my best building. It's not the most impressive building. It's not got the best detail in the world. But I think generally speaking, it's a nice enough building. I might come back to it and put some stuff on top of it, make a tower or something. We can make another clock. I don't know. But I'll probably do something with it to give it a bit more detail. I did end up using these window arches here to add more detail. This is something I was very happy that I discovered. It's very nice indeed. It worked really well. Anyway, folks, that is going to be it for today. If you have any ideas for things you would like to see me build in Planet Coaster, do feel free to let me know. If you like the video, like the video. If you disliked it, dislike it. But whatever the case, this has been Let's Build Pirate Valley Part 11. There are some cinematic shots after the commentary, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!